Tim, we talked a lot about the hybrid program here on Earth. Could you please explain what is the immersion program?
Right. So basically we have three types of non-terrestrials interacting with humanity right now, which is basically A, people that got integrated, reincarnated on this planet, and B, hybrids, which are born beings on this planet that have a cohesive experience. And we have C, which is the immersion program. And this is basically empty vessels that are being placed on this very planet and are being controlled from outside, from a ship or a base or something outside of the planet.
How are they controlled?
Yeah, it's like one of your favorite Hollywood movies where someone is basically putting his original body into a tube, a container or something, and his neurons and the brain, the actual brain, gets connected via some technology with an empty vessel and its brain. So basically someone in a tube outside of the planet on a ship, or maybe even on a different other planet, when the capacities are, large enough and good enough, can operate a humanoid figure on this planet in a absolutely immersive way.
How is this different than the non-soul humans?
It's not that different. So basically we've seen that ETs can use non-soul humans for this purpose. It's pretty easy to do so for them because those are empty, non-inhabited, so to speak. But most species that use these immersion programs, like for example the Greys, they usually grow humanoid figures, bodies artificially, so they can, better integrate themselves into them.
Can you explain a little bit more about this technology?
Yes, it's basically a technology that you put your own natural biological being, body into that. You have a nutritional liquid for some species. The Greys do not need that because they have a different system, but there are more than one species that uses the same technology, and some of them have big biological bodies. They need food, they need to digest basically, they need liquid, and they also need some movement, because you could basically stay in this tube for months, even years, and as you know, a biological body cannot, hold a position for too long. So basically those containers then make sure that the body is moved, the original body is moved, so that it doesn't break.
When you get transferred from the pod to, let's say, a vessel, does the being's soul and spirit go with that to that new vessel?
No, not necessarily. So the actual body stays in the ship. The soul container is what we call a soul. This is operating from a different, higher, frequential plane, basically a level 6 consciousness outside of time, so to speak. So this is non-localized, still connected to a localized form, of course. But the whole experience is 100% immersive, which means that the person, the ET that uses this technology is 100% solved in that unique experience. They 100% perceive their surroundings through the emotions and the neurological features of that human body, for example.
If something were to happen to the vessel, does anything happen to the 3D body, like an injury, death?
Well, phantom pain would happen. So basically, if the vessel loses an arm, for example, and the awareness in that vessel suddenly gets rejected and the person awakes in the pod, then it might feel for 1 or 2 days that his arm got, slut off or something, They would feel it through their own, brain and their own neurological system, but it's a phantom pain that would basically occur.
What's the purpose of these immersion pods?
Well, depends on who's using them, but what we see is that mostly species use them in order to make contact, which is a quite peaceful approach to it. They have realized that it's much easier when you appear to be human to get in contact with other humans instead of using their original form and their original body. Those bodies are actually 100% adaptive to their specific environment, which means on Earth you do not need to care about certain microbes, viruses, or even the environment, the biological and natural environment at all.
Makes it very, very convenient.
Makes it super convenient, yes. And well, some are using it as a technology to disguise and to covertly interact or do something. So you could basically use, if you have the right genetics, you could basically create a clone of your own best friend or something and use that as a vessel. So you could get very close to someone without them realizing it.
The extraterrestrial that's using a human body, is this something that's short-term or his whole life?
It can be used for a short-term interaction. I was talking about this situation where an ET intelligence used some non-soul humans in order to make contact with me and a group of friends of mine. So in general, those vessels are being used for like 20, 30 years or something. They could also use it for an entire lifespan of a human being, which is basically around 70 years or something. It depends on the mission and it depends on what the ET wants to accomplish. And some ETs are only interested in specific human experiences, which is mating, love. Having parents is something that is super interesting to them because, look, the Greys don't reproduce in a natural way. They do not have a mom and a dad. So they basically gain this experience through fully and 100% immersive experiences of being a human.
Does the vessel know once the extraterrestrial, returns back to the pod, does that being recall?
No. The body itself can only be operated as long as there is an awareness inside of him, or her, or whatever. So basically, once immersion ends, basically the body just falls to the ground and would die.